thinking about Carter.
Dude,
You wasn't thinking about
I love you. I love my family. But I'm.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You couldn't. You couldn't doing the dumb shit you did. No, you couldn't.
Man, you throwing in my face.
Because I might not be perfect, but
Nobody foresaw what was about to occur. Not the actors or staff, and most definitely not Rasheeda in what is now regarded as one of the most horrifying moments in the history of love and hip-hop. Cameras captured Kirk Frost having a furious outburst that left Rasheeda crying and astonished everyone. The video, which was only uploaded a few hours ago, has already gone popular on social media. The harm may already be done, but producers are rushing to handle the aftermath as fans demand answers. On what should have been a typical day on set, everything happened. Another moment between the long-term pair, however, then something exploded, and accusations were thrown, voices were shouted, and then the online explosion happened. Nobody anticipated that Kirk, the man Rasheeda had supported for so long, would leap at her. Viewers are now left wondering what actually occurred off-camera. Was this a one-time incident, or does it indicate something more serious and profound? Despite her public silence, Rasheeda's close friends and family claim she is hurt and done. But according to VH1 insiders,
all this provoking, that's what they want to do, man. This is whack.
See, bitches get threatened when they can't handle the truth. They want to start swinging.
Wait, hold on. Let them clear that out because I promise you. No, listen, I promise you. One of these girls grab you, I'm going to go crazy.
Controversy might jeopardize the entire franchise in addition to damaging Kirk's reputation. Stay put because you will be shocked by what we are about to tell next. Under the bright studio light glare, the customary barely controlled mayhem filled the love and hip-hop set. There were cameras set up, assistants running around, and makeup artists finishing details. Kirk entered with a taut expression. His mouth clenched as if he were trying to contain a storm. Anyone who knew Rasheeda could see the emotional tension beneath the surface of her phone as she sat off to the side, scrolling through it. The whole crew could feel the unmistakable coldness between them. Something wasn't right. A break was imminent. However, the audience was unaware that just prior to the commencement of filming, Kirk had inspected Rasheeda's phone. Although they weren't sensational or graphic, the texts were intimate. She had been talking to a friend about Kirk's most recent infidelity. The statement, "I don't know how much longer I can keep pretending this marriage is okay," struck him hard. He didn't approach her at that moment. Instead, he positioned himself on the set and awaited the rolling of the cameras. But he was seething inside. When the director called action, Kirk couldn't contain his rage and instead went on a tirade instead of following the script. The scene they were scheduled to shoot was a straightforward talk concerning their son's school predicament. "This is your true feelings, then?" Grinning while speaking behind my back on camera, although he spoke in a low voice, Rasheeda looked up, bewildered and upset. Her voice was already shaking as she said, "What are you even saying? I read all of your little messages." Kirk yelled and moved in her direction. The crew halted, not knowing if this was still a scene or if something had suddenly become horribly real. Was this merely theatrical acting, or was this really life falling apart in front of everyone? The tension felt oppressive. The space seemed heavy. Rasheeda's eyes widened as the quiet weighed heavily. "Really? Did you look through my phone?"
but you just gonna let your husband somebody else? Why am I? First of all, you be everybody in Atlanta and everybody knows you. You're not gonna talk to him, but I am. And what are you gonna do? And what are you gonna do? You're not gonna talk to him. Don't play with me.
Kirk retaliated. "Acting innocent is not acceptable. You have been grinning in my face while disparaging me behind my back. That is untrue, Kirk." He spat out. "I'm sick of the lies," Rasheeda said abruptly. Kirk disregarded the cue when the director attempted to pause the scene and ask for a cut. He couldn't be dialed back because he was now completely consumed by his feelings. "I needed to let it out, Kirk," Rasheeda said, standing up with teary eyes and trembling voice. "You're never around, you cheat, you lie, and I feel like I'm drowning. I can't keep holding this within." Those remarks drove Kirk over the brink. His hand went up. Nobody believed. What happened next? His palm made contact with Rasheeda's face in a terrifying moment, and time seemed to slow down. The slap sound reverberated across the studio like a gunshot. Everyone gasped. The sound of a clipboard hitting the floor. Rasheeda stood motionless in awe. Her expression shifted away. He just struck the cheek, and one hand slowly rose to it. There was a pause of a beat. Then anarchy erupted. The crew hurried in. For security, the assistant director yelled. Rasheeda was gently assisted by a sound technician who ran to her side. It was impossible to reverse what he had just done, but Kirk stood motionless, his eyes wide and his chest heaving in shock. The footage continued to play. Not intentionally, but since nobody had clicked the stop button, everything had been captured from several perspectives. A former cast member, Kirk Frost, was recently caught on camera hitting his wife on the set. Word went around the studio like wildfire. A crew member had already sent a friend a message. Something horrible just occurred. Kirk struck Rasheeda on camera, and that one message set off the chain of events. In a matter of minutes, social media took off. As Rasheeda was led to her dressing room, her name was trending. Fans were shocked. Nobody wanted to accept what they were hearing, yet the rumors kept coming in. Several versions of the same narrative they are not painting. A positive view of Kirk returning to her dressing room, Rasheeda sat quietly. Her cosmetics were smudged. Her cheeks were already flushed, but she stopped crying. There was only shock and grief now that the tears had dried up, along with a peculiar sense of relief as if something that had been buried had finally come to the surface. "He hit me, he really did it," she muttered to her stylist. Outside her door, producers were in a full-blown panic. Some wanted to stop making anything at all, while others were rushing to make a statement before the video leaked, but it was too late. It had previously been captured on camera by someone on the scene. Furthermore, despite the fact that everything was captured on studio cameras in high definition, but the shaky vertical cell phone footage would be posted online first. Kirk had already left the building by then. No explanations or apology were offered. Only a stiff, tense body with a face that showed nothing. Kirk said nothing. Not to his management or the crew, he just got out, got into his car, and drove away. By dawn, the first clip went online. It was wobbly and of poor quality, but it was clear. Kirk Frost giving Rasheeda a slap. The responses were vehement and quick. The fans were furious. Calls to fire him, arrest him, or even cancel everything poured in. Celebrities started speaking up. Rapper, no explanation, no apologies, just disgusting. "I watched them growing up, this hurts, I'm sick over it," wrote a well-known R&B performer. Even Mona Scott, the show's executive producer, was unable to remain mute. She sent a succinct but direct message. "Our production is not a place for violence. Important choices are being made." Speculation started to spread. VH1 might even cancel the entire season because Kirk was suspended permanently. Despite the commotion, Rasheeda remained silent. But she wasn't silent for long. Hours later, she shared just one picture to Instagram. Her fans showered the comments with love and support despite the solid black screen, no caption, and no tags. "You deserve so much better, so leave him. We love you." While the support was tremendous, there was also a lot of pressure on her to speak up and tell the truth. What was hidden from the public was the emotional upheaval she was experiencing. Shame, rage, destruction, and ambiguity. She had no idea what to do. The decision of whether to remain in the marriage, file charges, or leave.